Hello, everyone. I have a question for you. Who do you know that is in recovery? Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Sandra Canales. I am a person in long term recovery, and I'm coming up on 5 years of sobriety. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because there's a stigma that sticks with a person that is in recovery. So if you see a person that identifies themselves as in recovery, encourage them and try and help them out the best way that you can. My recovery process has taught me how to help others, has taught me how to be non judgmental, and has also taught me how to love myself. Let me explain a little bit. Why I love helping others? Well, it's because when I was little, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I came to Philadelphia at the age of 13. I lived with my mother, and I remember my first summer job. I would come home with my paycheck every 2 weeks, and my mother would take my paycheck, and she would end up just giving me enough to be able to get a transpass to work for another 2 weeks. You see, she was in her active alcoholism at the time. So, being the only girl, I really didn't receive any special treatment. And I was not able to go outside and play. I didn't have no girlfriends and things like that. And I was never given anything extra. So when I am able to help someone when they ask for the help or give someone something, and it puts a smile on their face or puts a relief on their face, it makes me feel good because I was able to help someone else. And also in the 12 step programs, we're taught that we have to help other people the same way we receive the help, that we have to be unselfish at this point if we want to continue our sobriety. And then you might say, how can a person be non judgmental? I don't think that's true. Well, I believe in a higher power. And when you have a higher power in your life, which is something that is greater than you, and you learn that your higher power has forgiven you, my higher power's name is Jehovah, whom I choose. And I know that He forgives me for everything that I've done and that He puts all my errors behind them and doesn't look back at them. So that means He doesn't judge me. That means that He turns around and He does not bring back to forth in the forefront all the bad things I've done. So then who am I to judge someone else? I have a non judgmental zone for the simple fact that I have lived experience on both sides of the spectrum. I know what it's like to suffer. I know what it's like to be in active addiction. I know what it's like to live homeless. I've experienced all these things. So I know if someone comes to me that has gone through all these things, who am I to judge? So when a person identifies themselves as being in recovery, think about it. Maybe all they need is a listening ear. Help them, encourage them. And I also talk about how much I've learned to love myself. Well, here's a small short story and how I learned that. My first year, when I celebrated my first year of sobriety, I had a boyfriend. And I was not being treated the way I felt as though I should have been treated. No time for me, had other things always planned, wouldn't take me anywhere. And I realized that now that I'm sober, I don't need anyone to validate me. I don't need anyone to just treat me any way that they want to treat me. So I was, for the first time in my life, being able to stand up for myself and love myself enough that even though it hurt to get rid of them, I have been single for the past 5 years. That's how much I love myself. I don't like the chaos. I don't want the arguments. I don't want any of that stuff. Because all those things were things of my past. And when you come into recovery and you learn all about you and you learn all about what it is that the past things that were wrong, the new things that can be right, you learn to love yourself. A person in recovery always has carried a stigma that they're either a junkie or that they're an addict. That stigma carries with all of us for long periods of time. So a lot of times people don't identify themselves as being in recovery due to the stigma that is stuck to the problem that they used to have. Remember, I'm saying used to because it's all past tense. So now that you know someone that is in recovery, if you meet someone else, think of me. Think of that we have lived experience, that we have suffered, and that all we want to do is get our life in order and be able to live just like you that are not in recovery, just like you that lives a happy and fulfilling life. It's all we're trying to do. So just help them and encourage them. And also remember that we are humans too. Thank you.